welcome all of you to SST College of Arts and Commerce. This is SST Edupedia. Myself Krishna Salgaonkar. I am an assistant professor of IT and CS department. Today I am going to talk about classical weaving, which is a part of a computer graphics and animation course, that is semester 4 SYIT. So let's start with the topic. First we will see our objectives for today's session. Introduce the classical views, and second, learn the benefits and drawbacks of each type of weaving. So we are going to learn about classical views, and second we will see benefits and drawbacks of these views. Classical weaving. Weaving requires three basic elements: one or more objects. Definitely you require an object. A viewer with a projection surface, projectors that go from the objects to the projection surface. So you need a projection surface and you need a projector also. So basically it based on three elements. One is object, second is projection surface, and third one is projector. Classical views are based on the relationship among these elements. Whenever we are talking about the classical weaving, it is based on these three elements. Planar geometric projections. Standard projections project onto a plane. Projectors. What is meant by a projector? We will try to understand that thing. Projectors are the line that either converge at a center of a projection or they can be parallel. So when we talk about projectors, we have to either consider converge of line to the center of projection, or the projection lines are parallel. Such projections preserve lines but not necessarily angles. We do such type of projections. They preserve the line but not necessarily the angles. This is what I am talking about, classical projection. So if you see in the first image, you can see the front elevation, then elevation oblique, plane oblique, isometric, 1 point perspective and 3 point perspective. So these are the different views. We will be talking in detail about all these things. So first, just these are the classical projection types. When we talk about projections, they are either perspective projections or parallel projections, right? So what is the difference between that? Computer graphic treats all projections the same and implements them with a single pipeline. Classical weaving develops different technique for drawing each type of projection. Fundamental distinction in between parallel and perspective weaving, even though mathematically parallel weaving in the limit of perspective weaving. See, when we talk about perspective views, actually we have to take the example of our eyes. Our eyes see the things in a perspective view. So when we see the things, we are seeing the things are getting converged from one point. You might have been observed when we are traveling. If we saw the roads at a distance, they get narrower towards the end, right? And as we go on moving, the things go shifting. So this type of views are actually called as perspective views. Secondly, there is a parallel view also. Now let's go through the topic so that the things will be more clear to you. These are the different views. So plane geometrical projections are either parallel or perspective. So whenever we think about projections, you have to think two types: parallel, perspective. Under parallel, we have multiview, orthographic, axometric, and oblique. Okay, and under axometric, we have isometric, diametric, and trimetric. Similarly, under perspective, we have 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective, and 3 point perspective. Each and every this point we are going to see in detail. So first we will think about the parallel. We are starting with the parallel projection. This is the perspective projection diagram, we can say. See here, these lines are not parallel. Huh? See over here, these lines are not parallel. They are the perspective view. So they are converging from one point. So see main object and convergent point. See that two things in the diagram. If I draw a line from that convergent point and my object, I can draw its view in between. So that gray color is actually the view I can make using these lines. Okay. Similarly, for parallel, the things will be like this. The lines are not, see over here. If you see in this, the lines are converging from one point. Okay. And if you see over here, the lines are parallel. So this is the main difference between the perspective projection and parallel projection. In perspective projection, we consider just a moment. So here in the perspective projection, if you can see a view is the lines or the view is converging from one point. Okay, and in the parallel one, this is in the parallel one, the lines are parallel. Now we will proceed further. So projectors are orthogonal to projection surface. Okay, there are three types now, orthogonal and all that. So we have to start with the first type, that is orthographic projection. So if you see my object, okay, and if I see it from the front and if I draw that on a paper, it will look like this. This type of projections are called as orthographic projections. Here the lines are parallel. Multi-view orthographic projection. So first we are seeing only the front view is there. We are sitting in front of the object. We are seeing from the front. So if it is a cube, we can just see a square. That's all. Now over here, this is multi-view orthographic projection. So we are going to see that object from different positions. So we can see it from the front, we can see it from the side, we can see it from the top. Now the same object from the front, it looks like this, from the side it will look like this, okay, and from the top we will just see the rectangles, right, with some lines. So this drawing these different views is called as multi-view orthographic projection. So this is about orthographic projection and multi-view orthographic projection. After that, we will see the advantages and disadvantages of these views. Preserve both distance and angle. Shapes preserved can be used for measurements, building plans, manuals. Okay. Cannot see what object really look like because many surfaces hidden from view. Often when we add this isometric, that time these things happen. So if you see now, in this diagram, if you see, if I give you only the front view, you can't imagine how the whole shape will be. Okay, if I give you side view, then also it is difficult to imagine, only side view. And if I give you top view also, then also it will be difficult to define the shape. But if I give you all the three views, front, side and top, then you can able to visualize the object. Okay, so that is the main disadvantages in this. Next is axometric. Okay, in that again there are three types. Allow projection plane to move relative to object. Classify by how many angles of a corner or projected cube are the same. There are three types: trimetric, dimetric and isometric. Depends on how many planes, that means how many reference planes we are taking. Based on that, it can be either isometric, dimetric or trimetric. So let's see that things, what is isometric and all that. So the projection will be like this. Okay, see the object, and we have to draw the same thing on a paper with the help of a projection lines. So here the three views you can see. If you draw with diametric, okay, so two axes we are considering, and with the help of that, with the angle, we are drawing the same object on a paper. Then trimetric, here 3 dimension, and then isometric. Okay, so if you see, isometric views are much better to define the shape. Okay, so initially we have seen what is that multi-view, orthographic view. We just see that front view, top view, like that. But in this axometric, that is diametric, trimetric and isometric, we can actually visualize the shape, how it will be object, how it will look like. So now we will come to the advantages and disadvantages of isometric, diametric and trimetric views. Lines are scaled but can find scaling factor. Lines preserved but angles are not. Again the same thing, lines are preserved, angles are not preserved. Projection of a circle in a plane not parallel to the projection plane is an ellipse. This is also there. See, if we in our object, if there is a circle, whatever object is there, for that which we are drawing the view, if there is a circle, okay, that time when we draw, actually the shape we got is a ellipse. This is because in weaving also, if there is a circle and if you tilt it little bit, okay, if you tilt it a little bit, your eye can see a ellipse, not a circle. Okay. So from that particular direction in a particular angle only, if you sit in the front, straight front, then only you can see the circle. But if you turn to some other position, or if you move that object, you tilt that object little bit, if you tilt that circle little bit, you actually see a oval or ellipse. Can see three principal faces of a box like object. Some optional optical illusion possible. Parallel lines appear to diverge. So you might have been seen many times the object is straight but it looks curved. We come across many situations where actually the object is straight but it looks curved. So that type of illusions are also possible. Does not look real because far objects are scaled the same as near objects. The object will not look real because the scaling for objects at a far and the scaling for objects at a closer distance are same. Used in CAD application, this is used in CAD application. Now the next projection is oblique projection. Okay, so here the projection plane. See, basically our objects are 3D and we have to draw them on a 2D paper. So when we are drawing them on a 2D paper, that time considering these three views, you can draw the oblique views, top view, front view. Okay, so see, if the projection plane, using the projection plane, see, it is a paper, so projection plane, we have to draw the lines. So from the top view we have to draw the lines, from this side view we have to draw the lines, and where that lines are intersecting, using that lines we have to draw the object on the paper. So arbitrary relationship between projectors and projection plane. So this is basically using the plane, that is our paper, and then we have to draw the lines in angle, particular angle, using the three views. So you should have that top view and side view, then you have to draw the lines using that views, and then you can draw the actual shapes. Now advantages and disadvantages of oblique views. Can pick the angle to emphasize a particular face. Architecture, plane oblique, elevation oblique. Angles in a faces parallel to projection plane are preserved while we can still see around side. So little bit angles are preserved in this projections. In physical world cannot create with simple camera, possible with below camera or spatial lenses, architectural. So there are some architectural cameras also comes in the market. With the help of that you can have this oblique views, because they actually preserve the aspect ratios and everything of the objects clicked. Now up till now we have seen the parallel projection. Now we are coming to the perspective projection. So here see now what actually I was trying to tell you people, now that will be clear. So when we see any object now, we see in this way, okay, and whatever that image is shown on that square, small square, that is actually formed inside our eye, okay. Now projector converges at the center of projection. So the center of projection is very important. Where you are standing, that is your center of projection. So there is one vanishing point. So this is what I was actually trying to tell you when we are traveling. So if the road is straight, so we can see it is converging from that particular point, or at that particular point it is vanishing, the road is vanishing, but actually the road is not vanishing, the road is straight, and this way the vanishing points get occurred there. Parallel lines not parallel to projection plane on the object converges at a single point in the projection, the vanishing point. So parallel, these are not actually parallel lines, these are parallel to the projection planes, okay. When we draw a line parallel to the projection planes on an object converges at a single point, these all lines will going to get converge at a single point. That point is called as a vanishing point. Drawing simple perspectives by hand, use this vanishing point. You can draw some simple perspective with your hand. If you consider this and if you try to draw the objects, you can understand what is meant by a vanishing point. In that again there are 3-point perspective, no principal face parallel to projection plane, 3 vanishing points for a cube. So here actually we have to consider 3 vanishing points, okay. So from all the 3 sides we have to consider, and then we have to draw parallel lines from that vanishing points. Where that parallel lines will intersect, you will get your object view over there. See, this is what our eyes also sees, we didn't recognize. So if you sit at a particular position, your eyes can also see the same thing. Here it is 2-point perspective, okay. So from 2 points, converge points, the lines will be drawn. Where they will intersect, the image will be forming there. On principal directional parallel to projection plane, 2 vanishing points for a cube. So we have to consider 2 vanishing points, and then this is the last one. Here only 1 vanishing point is considered. It is behind the object, okay. So from that behind the object we consider a vanishing point. This is 1-point perspective, so that's the reason we can see the view like this. 1 principal face parallel to projection plane and 1 vanishing point for a cube. Now what are the advantages of this perspective view? Advantages and disadvantages. Objects further from viewer are projected are from a distance, are at a distance from the viewer, are projected smaller than the same size objects closer to the viewer. So what it means, suppose if I have a cube of 5 by 5, suppose we will take 5 by 5 centimeter. So if I keep it closer, okay, if I keep it closer, it will look big in shape. But if I move that object at a longer distance, far from me, automatically I can see the shape is reduced. This is in a scaling, perspective scaling, it will get reduced. So that is the first thing. looks realistic. Obviously your shape look more realistic. Equal distance along a line are not projected into equal distance, so that is non-uniform force heading, that is also there. So equal distance along a line are not projected into equal distances. Okay, angles preserved only in plane parallel to the projection planes. Angles are preserved but only in planes which are parallel to the projection plane. More difficult to construct by hand than parallel projections. See, if you draw with think about orthographic projections, they are very easy, and here it is difficult to draw if you are drawing with your hands. If it is computerized, then it will be easy. So these are the different classical views we discuss, and we have seen their advantages and disadvantages also. Thank you everyone.